You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Happy Friday. I'm Dalby. Brock was not with us today. He was on a vacation day, but we still did have a show, and we still did manage to talk about a few interesting things, including the fact that my son might be a gambling prodigy. And I'm not sure if I'm proud about that.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Congratulations to the Anaheim Ducks, the Minnesota Wild, and all the other teams that have made their way into the next round of the NHL playoffs. Minnesota and Anaheim winning their games yesterday to close out their series. They joined Philadelphia, Colorado, and Carolina ready for round 2 of the NHL playoffs. And also, congratulations to me for going 0 for 5 on all 4 of those series with my predictions. We decided that we wanted to do something fun in the house for the NHL playoffs. So me, Mallory, and our 3 kids decided that we would do an NHL bracket pool where everybody would pick the winners of every series, and then we would reset in round 2, make picks there, round 3, round 4, so on. And everybody would put something on the line. Mallory and I each put up $20. Not a whole lot, but if you're a kid, I mean, the kids are 12, 11, and 9, $40. The idea of $40 is life-changing money. And then the kids each put chores up on the line, whether it was unloading the dishwasher 10 times or taking the dog for 7 walks or picking up dog poo in the backyard for a week. That's the sort of thing that we put up. And I am 0 for 5. I am in dead last place. A man who once worked to start his career in sports broadcasting has 0 correct answers. And my 9-year-old son, who doesn't watch hockey, doesn't really care about hockey, and made choices like picking Minnesota, being the only person in the family to pick Minnesota to win their series because it sounds like soda, and he likes soda. And he's 5 for 5. He's 100%, batting 1,000. This is why we need to teach our kids not to gamble, because no matter how much effort you put in, no matter how much you think you know, no matter how many games you watch over the course of an 82-game season, no matter how many years, you can go 0 for 5 and your kids can pick soda, and now you've got to pay them $40.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I almost fell for an online scam yesterday. I was sitting here, as a matter of fact, during the show, and I saw a poster on Facebook, Slipknot announcing a major tour that was going to have Canadian dates. I think just Toronto, but that's still Canadian date. And it was going to be this massive tour of Slipknot, System of a Down, and Korn going out on tour together. My mind was blown. It's like, I have to get tickets. What an incredible show that would be. It was fake. It was an AI poster. It was a virus. Like, thank God, read the comments before clicking on anything. Always read the comments. Don't click on anything. The internet can't be trusted. It's just such a bummer, though, that you can't trust anything on the internet. And more so, you can't get excited about anything. You know, you find an announcement and you're really happy because it's like, oh my God, all these bands that I love that I want to see are coming to a place where I could see them. It's fake. They're just trying to get into your accounts, trying to get into your everything. You can't get excited about new products because it's all a scam. You can't get excited about interesting news because it's all a scam. It's just so frustrating to live on the internet and to know that it is only getting crazier. I mean, we used to only have to worry about getting the occasional email from a Nigerian prince who has millions of dollars, but just doesn't have access to it yet. But you could send him like $100 and somehow that would unlock everything. And that was like the epitome of scams. And that's all we had. If you could see through that, then you were good. Now we've got people pretending to be the CRA, the RCMP, local police. We've got people pretending to make new concert announcements, and we've got people inventing new ideas and all this stuff. And AI is only making it worse. So my advice to you on this Friday, just don't trust anybody. Stone Cold Steve Austin was ahead of his time.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
A new study shows that we hate a lot of things about the places that we work. And unfortunately, most of it has to do with the behavior of the other people who also work there. See, a lot of people got to experience what working from home was like. Not everybody, but depending on your job, especially during COVID and in that aftermath, there was a lot of remote work to be done. And when you're working from home, you're in control of the environment. If there's a mess, it's because of you. If there's annoying coworkers, well, that's your spouse or your children. That's, again, your fault. When you have to go back into the office, especially after you've had that sort of breath of fresh air of what things could be like, things start to add up as these small little annoyances. And according to this new study, the biggest one is any office or workplace that has a fridge tends to be a huge friction point as people steal food from one another, which still blows my mind. Like, you always hear these stories about people who get their work lunch stolen out of the work fridge, or they have to tamper with their own food to get people to stop taking. Like, we're grown-ups. We're adults with jobs who pay taxes, and we're stealing sandwiches from one another. Mind-blowing on that one. Also, people who leave smelly foods in work kitchens, that sort of thing, ranks very high. Loud phone calls, I have to admit, as somebody with a bit of a volume control issue on his voice, if I'm working in an office and I have to take a phone call, everybody is going to know about it, which is why cell phones are great, because you can just duck out and then you can be as loud as you want when you're not standing next to everybody. And then there's just other things like filming TikToks, which is such a modern problem that it's almost hard to wrap your head around. Like, the idea that you could be working on a job site or working in an office and you're just there doing your 9 to 5 or whatever your shift is. You're just trying to get work done. And then you look over and one of your coworkers is doing like a TikTok dance, or they're coming over and they're getting in your space, trying to film things to post on social media. And it's like, you need to stop or I'm going to break your phone. You know, there are some jobs, this one specifically, where we film things for content because we are content creators at the end of the day. But if I'm swinging a hammer and you can't put your iPhone down and stop dancing to trending songs, we have a problem that HR is not going to be able to deal with.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Talking about things in your workplace that drive you nuts. The pet peeves about the place that you work. And boy, as it turns out, according to the text line, a lot of that has to do with the other people who work there. Mike, what's your workplace pet peeve, brother?
Disorganization, poor leadership.
Oh, it is so frustrating. Like, when you've got all your ducks in a row and you start your day and you know exactly what you need to do, get to the end, and then it all gets thrown aside from somebody who has no clue what's going on.
You got it, brother.
Have you ever had to yell at anybody? Like, you ever had to give somebody maybe a little upside the back of the head and tell them to get back together?
Well, you can't touch them, but you can sure tell them, yeah?
Oh, no, yes. Sorry. I should be very clear. I'm not encouraging anyone to hit anyone at work.
No, I totally understand, buddy. Yeah, but you'd like to, right?
In the back of your brain, it's okay to think about it as long as you don't do it.
Yeah, man.
I think that's a fair line to draw. Some of the other texts that we got in here, Green Eggs and Sam says coworkers not giving the same efforts that you are. It is frustrating when you're all supposed to be pulling the sled in the same direction, and even just one person who's not playing along, no one person who's not doing it the way that everybody else is doing it. It's like the group project back when you were in school. All it takes is one lazy person, and it ruins the whole vibe. Mitch, though, I think texted in maybe my favorite answer. And again, it does have to do with coworkers, but it's people who have never done your job trying to tell you how to do your job. You think about some of these jobs, even whether you're in an office or on a job site, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be people who you work with that maybe they have all the experience and talent in the world at the thing that they do, but they have no idea how to do your job. But boy, do they ever have some advice on how you should be doing things. Like somebody working in HR coming over and telling you, I think that this is how you should be doing it. And it's just mind-boggling that somebody could have that level of audacity. But remember, it is a Friday. Take a nice deep breath. You're going to get through this. Just ignore them until 5 o'clock, and then you'll be fine.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I saw a big press release from the people at Google. A lot of new cars have Google technology built right in to the entertainment system, and you can use it for things like maps and all these other things. Well, apparently that's getting upgraded. And now if you've got Google in your car or even on your phone that you plug into your car, you're going to start to get Google Gemini, which is their AI thing, their version of ChatGPT. Google Gemini coming to Google built-in cars very, very soon. And they're touting this as being like, you can use more natural language. Like if you're asking Google to find you a gas station, instead of just saying gas station or route me to a gas station, you can say, I want a gas station that's like no more than 2 kilometers off the highway or facing in this direction or that has a restaurant built in. And then the AI will be able to do a better search and get you a better answer. And I don't necessarily hate that. You know, one of my pet peeves about Google Maps and Apple Maps and all that other stuff is that while you're driving, it is not the easiest thing to do if you suddenly need to find directions. A lot of times, the only real option is to pull over and stop and then do what you need to do and then get back going. That's how you be safe about it. So maybe with AI, that's not the worst thing in the world. If you can just say, hey, I need this, blah, blah, blah. And then it gives you as if it was a passenger sitting in your front seat. But where it goes from there is they're like touting that you can get it to help you build a music playlist. Okay, maybe a little bit too involved for while you're supposed to be driving and paying attention. And then one of the advertised features is that you can brainstorm and converse. They are fully advertising now that what you can do if you have Google in your car is put on what they call Gemini Live and have conversations with AI to keep you company while you are driving. First of all, first and foremost, no, do not do that. We do not need to become parasocial with AI. AI is not your compatriot, your companion on a road trip. It is not there to keep you company. That is how people end up doing crazy things and saying AI told them to do it. And second of all, that has to be distracted driving. Having a full-on brainstorm conversation, they're talking about, oh, you could plan out the rest of your week. You could learn things. They're like, AI can teach you things, so you're making the most of your time on the road. That has to be distracted driving. At some point, you're paying more attention to learning about the Roman Empire from Google AI than you are focused on the roads. And I don't want to be mean. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings today, but I think we're all in agreement because we all have cars or have been in cars and have been on these roads. There's not one of you that's driving well enough to start taking history lessons from AI while you're behind the wheel. Someone's going to get into an accident. Google. No.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
There are a lot of places where you can find love. You know, you can go to bars and nightclubs and restaurants and social groups, or you could go, there's a number of places. The grocery store, not necessarily one of them, or at least not according to my mind, but there is a grocery store chain in Los Angeles called Erewhon, and their whole thing is like upscale, luxury, wellness, organic, granola, crunchy, that sort of thing. Everything's super expensive, and then everything is allegedly really good for you, and that attracts a certain type of clientele. And now there are people who are saying online in social media and even in different blogs and newspapers in the LA area that Erewhon is becoming the new place to meet other singles, saying that you can go there and you kind of get an idea of who this person is just based solely on the fact that they're shopping at the upscale grocery chain. You know, you maybe have similar values because you both believe in eating healthy or eating organic, or maybe you're just looking for someone with a big fat bank account. Well, if they're buying their groceries from somewhere that's allegedly 2 times more expensive than any other grocery store, yeah, you're probably thinking, okay, this person at the very least has a trust fund that they can lean on. The thing that is crazy to me, though, is like, I get all that. I get that, like, hey, you can meet someone you have things in common with based on the place that you're both hanging out. But the grocery store is one of the most stressful, frustrating places in the entire world. For like, every time I go to the grocery store, I'm just trying to get through it. I'm just trying to navigate around the people who are walking slow or blocking the aisle. I'm mad that they don't have the thing that I want. I'm super mad that everything is way more expensive than it has any right to be. I just cannot imagine at the end of a trip to Superstore, Loblaws, Metro, what have you, any of the Canadian grocery chains, there's not one that makes me go, I bet I could fall in love there. I think I would have a better chance of falling in love with the lobsters in the tank in the seafood section than another human being who won't get out of my way and definitely has too many items in the express line. But that said, in the way the world is right now with everything on fire, if you can find love at the grocery store, I am very, very happy for you. But also, you're still blocking the aisle. Get out of my way.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast. It's time for Brock and Dalby's Draft.
So it's not a full official draft because it's just me here today. Brock's got the day off. And so we can't do the back and forth and who won and victory and all that stuff. But we did go a whole week without doing any kind of draft. And I thought a one-man draft's better than no draft at all. And I was inspired by a story that we talked about earlier on the show this week. And you can find that on the Brock and Dalby podcast, available on Seeker and all the podcast platforms, where a woman used a jar full of bees to try and keep police from evicting someone that she was trying to protect, someone who was living at home. They were being asked to leave. They were being forced to leave. So she smashed a jar of bees in front of the police so that they would have to deal with that instead of, getting through and taking this person out of the home. And I don't agree with assaulting police officers, just to be super clear. But I do like the idea of having animals as a squad on your side to do your bidding. So today's draft, and you are all invited, 762-555, to send in your draft board, your top 3 animals to have on your side in a fight. Now, where I think the lady went wrong in choosing bees is I like the idea. Bees cause panic. They sting, they hurt, but they only get one sting and then they're dead. And from what I'm told, if the bees all die, we're in trouble. So we can't be just sacrificing them like this. Let's get hornets instead. My number 1 pick for the one-man animals on your side in a fight draft is hornets. They still have that same effect of when you see a hornet, you immediately get a panic of like, oh God, I don't want to get stung. And they can sting more than once is my understanding of how they work. They are relentless. They are angry. They are violent. They're mean. And they can do some damage. You get a jar full of hornets, smash that thing. You've got yourself an impenetrable front line of defense. On to pick number 2. Speaking of defense, moose. Imagine a wall of moose blocking access to whatever it is that you're trying to defend. You can't even get in by vehicle anymore because the moose is going to block you. And then if you get a moose mad, we've seen those videos when they start kicking or they get the antlers in there. A moose is like having an entire offensive line in one creature on your side. There are so many things that a moose could do if it was trained to be your war moose. And my third and final pick, and this might be a little bit off the board, but let me explain, ravens. Ravens are brilliant animals. They are some of the smartest animals in the animal kingdom. They pass cognitive tests alongside primates like monkeys that we all know can be very smart. Ravens display an advanced, cautious problem solving. You can train ravens to do incredible things. Plus, they're a decent sized bird. So again, they can cause panic, but also they're smart. Now, hornets and the moose is sort of just raw violence, you know what I mean? And body mass. But with ravens, now you've got some smarts on your side. So my draft for the best animals to have on your side in a fight, hornets, moose, and Ravens.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
My favorite thing about doing a draft is when you land on a topic that you can tell someone has put a lot of thought into today. We did the one-man draft because it's just me on the show today, where I said what my squad of 3 would be for animals to have on your side during a fight. And Ethan sent in a voice memo. Ethan is very passionate about this subject. Here's what he had to say.
Oh, brother, you got to pick. You got to do the trifecta. You got to pick a land animal, a water animal, and an air animal. I'm going to give you all 3. Blue whale, they're massive. Or you could go Greenland shark. Air animal, I'd probably go peregrine falcon. They dive at like 200 kilometers an hour. Mm-hmm. And for land, it's easy to say kangaroo, but we got some good choices, like giraffe, they'll stomp you. Rhinoceros, they're pretty deadly. Hippos are super deadly. That one's, you can go anywhere.
I mean, hippo is one that not a lot of people texted in, but you're right. Like every time I read about or see a documentary or anything about hippos, I am left more and more wondering how we ever decided the house hippo should be this adorable creature that lives in our homes. Like, what a terrible idea. I do also like the idea of having a water animal. I didn't have one for my draft. Almost nobody texted in about water animals, but it does make sense. The world is covered in so much water. You should have at least some kind of animal that can go into the depths. I'm thinking maybe a crocodile, alligator, something that can get into the water, but that can get back out. Like, I get having a blue whale on your side, but if we're on the land, the whale's just kind of chilling. He's just kind of hanging out. We got this call here from Eric. Eric, what do you think? You've got a unique take on this whole situation.
That would have to be the emu.
What are you going to do with an emu?
Bullet shield. I mean, come on. They won a war against Australia.
It would be intimidating. Like, I feel like if you got a fleet of emus, even 10 emus running towards you at one time, I'm probably not trying to figure out how to win that fight. I'm looking for an escape.
Probably be a good idea.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
All right, we are doing another Fast and Furious. We are looking for your car alarm impressions today. And if you think you've got the best one, well, you can send it in as a voice memo. Here's sort of just a demo of what we were looking for. And again, one of many different styles of car alarm that you could use. But if you are not one of our alarmed cars, then that means you are one of the people holding the little fob to make the alarm stop. You have to vote for which one is the best at 762-555. Let's start here with Alex has our first one in.
This is Alex, and this is my car alarm.
It kind of started as a British police car, and then woo girl at a nightclub, I think, is sort of what the combination would be there. So a good start from Alex. On to the next one.
All right, I'm going to give it my best shot here.
Dude. Jesus. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's your car alarm. Maybe your car is being attacked by pterodactyls. There's no real way to tell. Let's do Sandra. I mean, if your car alarm is a cat in heat, then yes, that is also a car alarm. Okay, let's, I don't think we've found our winner yet, but let's keep going. Uh-oh. Okay. That's Thomas. Thomas just switching it up. I thought Thomas just ran out of gas. It sounded like he just lost the energy. But I think he was just trying different sounds. This one here. Ooh. Damn. I mean, it keeps going from there, but that's definitely somebody who lives in a neighborhood with a car alarm that goes off a lot. We'll do 2 more here to wrap it up.
Hi, my name's Andrea.
Hi,
and
Andrea.
This is the car alarm that goes off down my street all the time.
Okay.
And so on.
And so on and so on. I've got a neighbor with the exact same car alarm, so I can identify with that. Very good, Andrea. One more. This is Benjamin. I don't think it's the best one, but that is very impressive whistling. A lot of people in their voice memos tried to do the whistle sound effect, and I don't think many of them nailed it the way the Benjamin did. For me, I gotta say, I think it's between this one here, the longer one, that goes through all the different variations. I do really like that part. And then Andrea, just a couple people with experience.
That goes off down my street all the time.
Very good efforts today, but I'm looking at the text line, and all of our fob users, our alarm stoppers, are texting in for the long one, the fellow who went through the different variations. Here's some more. That impression caused some PTSD in some people today who live in car alarm neighborhoods. So congratulations, you get the ding and you get the round of applause and you get $100 in Lotto Max tickets.
Want to be a part of the podcast?
Leave a message on the Bad Line.
The Bad Line is the answering machine for the Brock and Dalby Show.
To get the number, text the word BAD to 762-555.
Thanks for listening to the Brock and Dalby podcast.